Action. Cold-blooded. Nope. Take 5. Get ready for some jump cuts. Well, hello there, and welcome back. Or, for the first time, if you decided to start a alphabetical movie marathon challenge video on the letter F, because maybe you didn't want to listen to all of them, you just wanted to find out what that F movie was. I'll tell you what the effing movie was. It was Firewall, the Harrison Ford classic. Firewall, listen all y'all, it's a firewall. I have Harrison Ford on my shirt. I think so. I wouldn't necessarily say that the 2006 Firewall movie was necessarily a classic. Might not be classic, but it's an enjoyable movie. With Harrison Ford and Paul Bentley. Did I say that right? No, I didn't. Bentley. That's what I think of you, Mr. Avenger, go on, vision guy. Bettany. Bettany? Bettany. Bettany. Paul Bettany. I need to watch the extra features of my Avengers movie so I can know how to pronounce Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany. Let's see. Jim Ferguson of ABC TV says it's outstanding! A taunt, intellectual, action, thriller. There is a exclamation point, so I have to yell. Outstanding! Hugely entertaining and exciting, says Paul Fisher of DarkHorizons.com. This must be early days of finding reviews on .coms. You know, I don't know if they're just trying to be trendy because it's about computers, kind of. But I think in those days, it kind of says something about a movie if you have to go online to find a good review of it. I am not dissing this movie. I enjoyed this movie. I did. Let me defend myself to you. All right, now I'm going to read the back cover to you. It's an ordinary day at Land Rock Public Bank. Ordinary for everyone but IT expert Jack Stanfield. His wife and children are held hostage at home. Their kidnappers have one demand. Jack must heist $100 million from the ultra-secure system he designed, and they'll be watching every move he makes. Boom, boom, boom. Showing the everyman vulnerability, strength, and resourcefulness that makes him one of the film's most appealing heroes, Harrison Ford portrays Stanfield in this cyber-edged race against time. Cyber-edged. I don't think I've ever heard that way of describing a movie before. Cyber-edged. So I wonder if they called it cyber-edged because it just has like a little bit of cyber in there. Paul Bettany, the Da Vinci Code, co-stars as an ice-blooded crime mastermind, and Virginia Madsen, Sideways, plays Stanfield's wife, who disregards her own terror to protect her children. The criminals' plan is airtight. They figure they can't lose, but they overlook one thing: the desperation of a man with everything to lose. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so one of the features in this is the Firewall Decoded, a conversation with Harrison Ford and the director, Richard Loncraine. Loncraine? And in that, it kind of tells you that they kind of started with the movie plot, and then they kind of had something, and then they were kind of had to change it, and they were kind of working on things like the ending. They didn't have the fight set up for the ending because they didn't have a location for the ending. It's kind of like this 2x2 thing going on. And I kind of feel like anytime it's pretty hard to start a movie halfway through pre-production and come out with a solid, coherent piece. Not that this isn't, not that it's not a coherent movie, but it's not probably as solid as it could have been. Harrison Ford doesn't seem like the kind of person who feels the need to hide certain aspects of the making of a movie. If something didn't work out, he'll comment on it, and he seemed heavily invested in the making of this movie. That he was kind of interested in the script, and that the script needed some work, and he was in there helping it. And it was the first time he worked with the director, so they were still kind of trying to build their trust, kind of thing. And it seemed to show in the movie that the movie could have been better than it was. Get off my plane. That's not from this movie. Get off my firewall. Listen, kid. Firewall. Another action thriller about computers. Kind of. Sort of. I mean, they call it Firewall, even though there's no... He's not like trying to hack through the firewall. What the burglars are doing, instead of going through the security system, the firewall that Harrison Ford's character created, they're instead kidnapped his family and are just having him go into work at their closed servers to steal the money. They're stealing money electronically. It's not physical money at all, and it's a relatively good plan to take your richest customers and then just skim 10,000 off of each one. I think it was 10,000 off of each one, or maybe it was 100,000 after each one. But I think it was like 1 million people skim 10,000 off of for 10 million profit. And if they've got a lot of rich people on there, or companies or whatever, that if you're a billionaire, it might be difficult to notice 10,000 missing from your account in a timely manner that would actually stop and prevent things to do it. And it doesn't go right. It says airtight, right? Double check. The criminal's plan is airtight. They figure they can't lose. But, that there's a hitch in the movie, that the terminals that they would use in the server room in order to hack the money were removed the week before because of this big merger thing going on. It's got Robert Patrick in it, who kind of, you can't tell if he's like a good guy or a bad guy in the movie. I mean, you can't quite call him a good guy because he's not with Harrison Ford, but he's not a bad guy because he's just doing his job to keep the bank money secure, and he knows that something's going on with Harrison Ford's character, that he is trying to steal money from the bank that he is now trying to protect. Who's trying to attack me here? Alec Guinness is trying to attack me. The Seven Samurai are trying to attack me. Virginia Madsen. I'm not going to get anybody's right here. I'm going to start calling it Farrison Horde. Virginia Madsen, who, I've loved since Candyman. I forgot that she was in Sideways, I guess. But that's the first movie I always think about. She does a fine line of, fearing for her children's life and protecting her children from the bad guys. They've been held hostage in their own home, and her daughter and son are there, and the four guys with guns just holding them there. So you would be almost completely terrified the whole time, but she's not terrified to the point of not acting when she needs to act. There is an escape attempt in the movie. It just seems horribly flawed to me, because they're like, okay, you're going to sneak out. I'm going to create a diversion. You're going to go into this storage basement or whatever. You're going to go under the floorboards and crawl through the crawl area, come up in the garage, but the garage is covered with a shelf that you're going to knock over, and then get into the car before the bad guys run in and stop you. It seems like it would have been better if they had just got outside of the house and gone on foot, because that just drawed their attention to the fact that they were trying to escape. They probably wouldn't have known for at least another couple of minutes and it just seems, I don't know if Harrison Ford thought he could hold him off long enough, I guess. Watching this movie actually reminded me of an interview I saw with George Clooney for Tomorrowland, where he was talking about being an action hero of a certain age. And like when you're young, they're all like, you gotta be all awesome and tough guy and face, don't blink and walk coolly away from the explosion in the background, kind of thing. And when you're older, you're supposed to be all kind of like, whoa, what's going? Oh gosh, what? Oh, I'm gonna punch you and fall down. Which was how I would actually do it. More like, personally, that's just my physicality. And that's kind of, I was kept reminded every time Harrison Ford fell over when punching somebody or startled at one point. He's like, oh, my daughter's escaping from the house. I've got to turn around and get back in my car and save her. He spends a second falling on his butt and rolling around. So it's just kind of weird. Although, thinking back about it, even in the early Raiders of the Lost Ark, he wasn't like a macho walk away from explosion thing happening. He was always, he had punched, he'd he'd fall down on the ground, kind of thing. But this is kind of to an excess, and I don't know if it's to an excess, but I think it kind of downplays it. But he does take a licking in this movie, especially with the final fight. It's a real slobber knocker, and he comes out on top. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Harrison Ford wins, which I don't know. Is that a spoiler alert? Harrison Ford's in the movie. He's going to win. No, I don't want any Force Awakens people talking right now. The movie's also got Robert Forster in it and Alan Arkin, both playing supporting parts at the bank. Always great to see those guys on there. And Chloe, I think it's Chloe from 24. I think that's her name. That's what is her real name. Is Mary Lynn Redscub? Yeah, I'm just going to go Marilyn. I'm just going to go with Chloe from 24. Hopefully that's her name. It's been too long since I've watched 24. Rzatsky? I think from now on, when I pick a movie, I'm going to pick a movie that I can pronounce everybody's name in. Across the board. Or I'm just not going to talk about them. I think this is the most butchered names I've done so far. Across the board. Robert Patrick. The T-1000 himself. You watch this movie because of Harrison Ford. Basically, it's the reason I watched the movie. It's the reason I saw it in theaters. A taunt intellectual action thriller. There's some slow parts in it. Just the semantics of the plot of the movie. Like they're gonna have to we set up the day. Oh, and we're gonna kidnap your wife and kid at the end at nighttime. We're gonna lock you all up in your house, and you're gonna go into work next day and steal the money for us. Oh, we can't steal the money. So we're going to go back to your place and stay at your place again for another night. And then we're going to do it the next day after that. And it's like a 3-day period that would be nerve-wracking if you could put yourself in the place of Harrison Ford and his family. Or even the henchman and Paul Bettany's character. If you can put yourself in there, it's a taunt action thriller, but I don't think there's too much dead space in there for it to actually be taunt, just from the logistics of how long the movie takes place. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. If you don't agree, you can feel free to those comments down below instead of, like, hey, get a haircut. You're tame that fro. It's not a fro. It's I'm sorry. Tame that hair. And that's is FIREWALL. Once again, I don't think the technology is outdated. I mean, well, it's outdated, but I don't think that it feels dated. You're still able to put yourself in those spots. I mean, unless you're probably work in an IT for a bank, you might be like, oh, they're still doing that. I think for a movie that is supposedly about robbing money electronically, there aren't a lot of technology things in it. Um, there is some nice, like I think even Harrison Ford commented a MacGyver moment where he, pulls out it was a fax, but a scanner from a fax machine to use to scan a screen of bank numbers going through onto an iPod. So it was using cutting edge technology, cyber edged technology. Maybe they just didn't want to use cutting edge thriller because Enemy of the State already stole that, so they had to use cyber edged thriller. Not a whole lot of special features on this one. I got the conversation, which I mentioned, and also an interview, FIREWALL writing a thriller, an interview with the writer of the movie, obviously, how he came up with the idea and other stuff like that, and then a theatrical trailer. Yeah. So in all, that took like 30 minutes to watch the special features on. It's nice occasionally to have something I can finish off in one night and not take 3 or 4 days. Although I love the 3 or 4 day ones also. It's a fine line. It's also a firewall. Listen, all y'all, it's a firewall. So if you like Harrison Ford, if you like thrillers, if you've got nothing better to do, if you need another movie to watch, if you need an action movie, starts with the letter F to watch, I'd check out FIREWALL. Or for a few dollars more, for a fistful of dollars. But also FIREWALL. Is FIREWALL your favorite action movie starting with the letter F? Or is it something else? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below.
Give me a like. And don't forget to subscribe.
Paul Bentley planned it. Harrison Ford can't stand it. Listen, all y'all, it's a firewall. Listen, all y'all, it's a firewall. Listen, all y'all, it's a firewall.